Okay, here we go, everybody. Boom. Okay, perfect. Grooviness. So that is the amazing music of my very special guest and dear friend, Mr. Ian Morris. A big cut off there. Apologies. But Ian, me and the universe are delighted to get to sit with you, and people are already jumping on here. So we're going to have a great old time. And as you and I talked about, we really want to give you a chance to share more of your music here today. And of course, everyone who listens to my morning prayers always asks me over and over again, what is that fabulous music you're playing at the top of the program? So I'm always thrilled to turn people on to your great work. And welcome. Great to be here with you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited. It's going to
Me
be
too. A pleasure. Pleasure. And you just did about 90 minutes with our friend from Australia there, Fleur.
yeah.
She's back on. She's keeping us company. So
Cool.
big hello to Fleur. And so, folks, you're welcome to ask anything that you like of Ian here. He is truly one of the most talented and generous people I've ever had the pleasure to hang out with. And so I'm just thrilled, like a kid in a candy store, when Ian comes to share his goods with us all. And you might have some questions. So we're going to try to make this free and easy today. And it's just going to go by like a rocket ship, I've no doubt. So, Ian, take us away. How would you like to start off here today?
Um, you want to start with a song? I mean,
Yes, please. Whatever you're inspired to. You're going to share like 30 seconds a minute of different tunes here, and we can talk
yeah.
about each tune and answer questions.
Okay, cool. So, do you want me to set it up, or is that how we're going to do it? Set it up
Yeah, if
one
you like. Yeah,
track.
if you want to give a little background, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah. So the second track from the September album, that's out now, was a combination of kind of tribal shamanic drumming, met with a little bit of energy from a didgeridoo, and
Okay.
and then the chanting. The song really spoke to me, and it's interesting how songs come together. Sometimes you have the concept completely, and sometimes you get this little spark or shimmer, and it kind of unfolds in front of you. And I
Right.
was with my girlfriend, and I knew that the didgeridoo and the drums were I had a really special connection to that track. And doing that, I wanted to bring something that was of a positive message, and kind of match the song and its mood. And
Right.
so my girlfriend and I, were just kind of going back and forth with some of the mantras and chants and things that we have used in the past. But one really stuck out, which was Rama Dasa, which is,
Okay.
there's three different parts of this mantra that we intuitively kind of merged together to make this creation of the song. And um,
Okay.
essentially, the first half of the chant and mantra, stands for earth energy, and
Okay.
the second half of the chant and mantra that we stuck together was the ether, ether energy, universal kind of
Right.
energy. And so the chorus actually on the song is Ong So Hung, which is
Yeah.
a chant it's a huge like heart chakra opener and a healing mantra. And so like the Ong is the creative consciousness, and the So Hung is kind of I am that, so
Okay.
it's putting the creative consciousness, and it's like music where I say frequency is the fuel.
Yeah.
So the creative consciousness is then put into that intention of I am that, molding, creating, manifesting, and so it's a really powerful healing mantra. And so
Right.
we combine both of those, with like a verse chorus, not really, but kind of in that
Okay.
perspective, and put it together. And when I was done with it, I listened to it and I shared it with people, and I just knew it was a really special connection for us as a couple. But it was also the people we shared it with, had a lot of affiliates, writing in saying this is my favorite song in a long
Wow.
time, for the albums. And it had a really powerful energy to it,
Great.
Yeah. So
Great.
I think it's really neat for people who, I have on the album, listed all of what each word means and the kind of intentions behind it, so people can read along. And then also,
Great.
it's really fun to just chant, at home, and to kind of get in that groove with the music. So
Right.
I'll share, a few seconds of it now.
Yeah. Give us a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. Wonderful setup. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah.
We're off to a roaring start. Great.
If that gives
Beautiful.
gives you some of yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, Fantastic. Fantastic energy. Um, the someone here, Elvia Cisneros. Yes, Rama. Let me show this. Rama Dasa Seso Hung is a healing mantra from Kundalini Yoga.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great, great. Um, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. I liked that dramatic pause there, and then you have all the drums coming in. It reminds me of some Peter Gabriel.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful energy.
yeah.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, brilliant. Again, we're getting into it here. Um, so, Ian, give us again, a little bit of your background, please. Not in great depth because you've done that so many times, but for people that are new to your music,
Yeah,
how you got into working in this way.
yeah. Well, I started with myself. You know, I was having a lot of health issues that were not really pinpointed with, mainstream medicine. And so I started seeking alternative, you know, treatments. And when I was doing that, I came across a book called The Healing Power of Sound by Mitchell Gaynor. And it was, uh, basically a description for healing from, chronic illness with the sound of the human voice, singing bowls and chanting and breath work.
Right,
And, he was a traditional doctor that was using non traditional methods, in his cancer clinic. And I just had a really big resonance with that book, and it made me dive into all things sound. At that point, I started doing breath work and meditation, and I'd always been a person had been a person who had a hard time meditating, finding
right,
peace, and the music, was one of the big parts of it for me. So I started using music with headphones, incorporating it into my meditation, and I just kept going. I started saying, "This is really cool. I would love to see what music I could create." Being a musician already, I
right,
started experimenting with frequency, and then it kind of turned into what I'm doing today, which I call frequency-minded music, creating not just meditation music, but music in general with frequency, so that it can be utilized on a daily, not just in a meditation practice, but on all levels of your day.
right, right. Brilliant. So that's great. So in terms of working with, you're familiar now, obviously you're quite expert in the frequencies and which frequencies are best used for different purposes. And do you kind of go at your songs and your music saying, okay, I want to do a healing frequency, so I'm going to use this frequency and build music around that, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think it's different each month. So what I do is I look at the astrology information that's coming in for each month, and then I'm utilizing different systems. Like I use the chakra standard tune chakra system. I also use the solfeggio tuning, with its basis in the chakras, and then I also am utilizing planetary, frequencies for ushering, like a full moon, new moon, or a solar eclipse. You want to incorporate these planetary frequencies, and then sometimes I'm doing channeled frequencies. Before I create each month, I sit down and do a meditation, sage, the whole kind of ceremony for me, and
Right,
just ask, some of my family members that have passed over, my father, my sister, some different friends who've passed away over the years, and just ancestors, spirit guides, angels, and I just ask for the wisdom and clarity to bring in what is needed, not just for myself, but for all the listeners who are, listening in, and just try
beautiful.
to create an album that is going to help people have release work and to have an energetic empowerment, and just kind of help people move through the month in an easier way.
Right, right. As you were saying before we got on, I totally relate. Intention, is such a huge thing, and it's something that most of us are so unconscious of, except when we're really in a challenge or a crisis, and then we get very deliberate. But as you said, learning to work for you, learning to work intentionally, and being a conscious channel of spirit through your music and being of service to everyone, that continues to help you to clear your own channel and be really tuned in.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll have people that'll come to like one event for the month, and they'll say, "Man, I was just in tears. It had I had such a powerful release," and they're like, "I can't imagine what it is for you to like make this all month long, and to mix it and to put it all out." and and there's lots of times that I have to, there's things that I'm feeling or experiencing, and I have to realize that, I have to step back and take time for myself sometimes, because it's
Sure.
such a lengthy process. I'm bringing a full album every single month, through to people, and
Yeah.
self as well, and
Yeah.
doing that. So there's lots of times where you have to have kind of a little toolbox, for your self care, not just sound, but meditation and breath work. And I find breath work to be one of the most powerful stabilizers there is. It's so powerful.
Yes. Yes. Quite
Yeah.
agree. Quite
Yeah.
agree. Here's Amanda Smith. How do we find your music to purchase? Just a quick.
So the website is listeningtosmile.com, and you can find all the music there. At the top, there's a menu that says "Get Music," and there's what I call the Sonic Meditation albums is what we're going through today, the monthly albums that are created. And then there's a wellness series that's more targeted. So it has like one grouping of music, like a sleep album or songs for anxiety, things like that. So that's all off the website. And
Great.
if
Great.
they purchase using Lou Martin's affiliate code at the checkout, when they check out, you'll just put in Lou Martin all together, lowercase, and you'll get 10% off of the album. And it also supports Lou and his work and what he's doing. So it's awesome.
It's a win-win. Thank you so much. Yeah, brilliant. What would you like to play for us next, my friend?
Um, Probably one of my favorite tracks that's a meditation track is 390.6 hertz,
Okay.
which is a channeled frequency. I was in meditation, and it was just given to me about a year ago. It just was something that I wanted to use with my tone generator. I would use it to exploring it because it was just a direct download, like 390.6, such a specific frequency.
All right. Right.
It was so weird. So I started experimenting, and what I found was it was just such a slow, soothing frequency that it gave me such a peace that I started incorporating it into songs. But it was just it was like, when you're getting that nudge, like when you feel something and you're like, there's something more. It's like it's pushing you to go further with it. And so I
Yes.
started experimenting with that frequency with upbeat music as well. And what I found was really interesting. It was kind of backing the research I've done personally as well as with some of my clients, which is basically the intention that I put with this frequency, 390.6. Like if I say it's going to work with sleep, and that's my intention with that track, every single person that listens to that track is like, I can't stay awake. It totally relaxes me where I just fall asleep. But
Wow.
when I tried it with a more upbeat song and used it with focus, that's what the intention we sought before the development of the song, and then putting it in there. Every person that listened to that is just like, man, I can totally listen to this at work, and it
Wow.
helps me get through my day. And it's such I love this track. And so what's interesting is I really believe that frequency is a disruption of our normal programming, the vibrations that we carry through the day, but more than that, the past stories and the voices in our head that tells us we're not good enough, and all the endless things that ego puts in your
Sure.
existence. I really
Sure.
believe that if as long as you're tuned into a frequency and you personally set an intention with that frequency, it's going to disrupt that static programming that's in that in your existence, and it's going to give you a real opportunity to look at your thoughts and your perspective as an observer from a standpoint where you can actually make changes and correct and change the things, release the things that are no longer serving you. So that's this frequency for me is that for me personally is that ultimate frequency for just proving that intention is such a powerful thing.
Yeah. So if I understood you correctly, Ian, you're saying using the same frequency with the intention of helping people to sleep, no one can stay awake with that music.
Right.
Same frequency, using the intention for people to be productive. Everyone was all hyper and productive.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and the only thing that was different, the frequency stays the same, and the instruments are tuned differently for the song, but the sorry, the instruments are tuned the same for the song, but the genre of music is different. So
Right.
it's like we'll have a very slow tune and a very upbeat tune, and the intention from the start of the song was different with each, and the outcomes were drastically different, even though it's the same frequency. So
Amazing.
I really love that. You know, there are frequencies that can show you a tried and true. You know, this is a root chakra frequency, and it's, you know, everyone that listens to it says, "Oh, I feel calm, I feel grounded, I feel like I have a direction and a focus." You know, and so, but it's interesting to see newer frequencies coming in, and I believe that we're just scratching the surface with this. You know, that over the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to see higher frequencies coming into, you know, because people are going to be elevating their vibration,
Right.
right? To meet that is, you know, like right now, people listen to 1,000 hertz and they're like, oh, I just, you know, it's too much. It's, but,
Right.
you know, with my music, what I've been seeking is trying to combine octaves to the healing frequencies so that we have a bass and a mid level and the ultimately the healing frequency setting on top, like the singer of the band, and you're merging those together so that you're giving people the bass and the lower frequencies so that they feel it. And it's almost a placebo effect in that, is that when people feel the sound and it's soothing and peaceful,
Yeah.
you know, it automatically is welcoming, and they say, "Hey, this is really good. I can feel it. I can something different is happening. I can feel it and sense it." You know, but
Brilliant.
ultimately delivering those healing frequencies in a way that is accessible and you know, just gentle. You know, a gentle delivery. And so that's what
Sure.
I'm ultimately looking for in these songs. But the track I'm going to show you is called Belief Code 21, and it's off
Okay.
the June album, which is the album that you share. You know, the first track off of the third track. Sorry, third track off of the album that you use at, you know, the beginning of your program. And
Right.
the Belief Code 21 title actually came from Greg Braden book, and the the belief
We
code.
love Greg. We love Greg Braden, Eden.
Yeah, Greg Braden's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
The belief code 21 was actually saying that the things that have brought you harm, I'm paraphrasing, the things that have brought you harm can ultimately be reversed and be the things that bring you your healing, you know. And so that, when I was reading that in his book, I just found such a resonance with that, and I said, wow. And it inspired this track. So the frequency is 390.6 hertz, and
Okay.
it's a meditation track, very peaceful. It's got flute and some synthesizer, some guitar harmonics, and, you know, just a real peaceful track. So I'll share it now.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So
Wow, that's a feast.
yeah,
That's that's a feast, my friend. Thank you.
yeah. So that's definitely one of my favorite tracks I've made in 5 or 6 albums. It's really one of my favorite meditation tracks.
Yeah,
Uh, a
I
lot.
really do. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've played that several times. Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
gorgeous.
that one I feel like was definitely like a direct intervention. I was totally setting up for a different style of song with that frequency. And
Right?
I always, kind of joke around with people saying that the spirit guide sometimes will, restart my computer, shift things around while I'm recording, and I'm like, hey, that didn't sound like that. And it's like it's interesting how that process goes sometimes. But when this fluctuation happened, I started listening to the track, and I was like, huh, that's interesting, and I just kind of went with it and went with the flow, and it totally within 10-15 minutes that whole song came together.
Yeah.
um and it was just kind of getting out of the way so it could come through. And that I felt like was a real significant marker of a change in my co-creation process, of kind
Mm.
of being even more open to going with that flow, because the outcome was something that was so beneficial. you know
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Graceful and grace filled, you
yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, my teacher Lazarus uses the word elegance,
Mhm.
where they say it's the maximum result from the most efficient use of intention or energy. And I'm sure you see this. That's a beautiful example of that. We know when we're co-creating with spirit because it's better than we've imagined possible. That's the way my guides put it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that's an awesome way of putting it.
lovely. Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant. Well, you're just putting us all in such great art space here, my friend. What? Anything else you'd like to share with us today? Thank you.
yeah. Um, I think off of the August album,
Yeah.
there is a 417 hertz, which is the frequency of change from the solfeggio scale. Um,
Yes.
the intention that I've read with everything behind it is just kind of removing blocks, making it easier to kind of transition, you know.
Yes.
And the track is definitely a very movie soundtrack, almost like a, I don't know how to describe this track. It's very special to me. It's a real meaningful track, but it's almost reminds me of like an 80s esque, kind of
Right.
to it. But it's definitely something that every time I listen to it, it just takes me deep in meditation. It's real, helps you kind of just leave your body, each time I listen to
Right.
it. So I'll share that.
Right.
And so this is 417 hertz, which is the frequency of change. Okay. All
Sure.
right.
Wonderful. Yee.
Yeah.
Oh, so fine. So fine. That's just absolute sublime.
Yeah.
Whee!
Yeah, it's definitely one that each time I put on the headphones and listen to that, I'm definitely somewhere else. Takes you out of whatever situation you're in, just kind of puts you in your own little bubble. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
yeah,
when I was listening to you and Fleur earlier with Joe, um, uh, you were saying that this is the new level of work that you basically started 3 years ago. You started creating it this in this new way 3 years ago.
yeah, the album every month.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the last 3 years has definitely been an intention. Like before when I would make stuff, it would just kind of be when the situation presented itself.
Right.
And when you're on that intention of creating an album every month, it shifts your creativity. It changes the way that you make things, and you have to really to be able to make 5 or 6 songs every month is a challenge. Especially for me. So I have to really get out of the way and let this be a co-creation between me and Spirit to bring forth the right energies, the right genres, the right style and tempo, and to really trust it and to not judge it or try to control it in any way, but to just be open and to bring forth the most sincere heart and intention. And
Yes. Here's today's angel. Trust. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So it's definitely been a life changing thing in the way that I approach creating, and also just trusting. Like you said, just trusting that it has what I need and what everyone else who's listening in needs to take away for the month.
Sure. And Ian, I just want to acknowledge you, brother. Not only are you making such wonderful, powerful music, but you're one of the best networks I know, and you are creating this great virtual online community through your support of me and other people with your wonderful work here. And so, there really is a sense of being a part of a conscious community together through your work and through your networking. So I really want to thank you for on behalf of all of us.
Yeah. Thank you too. Yeah, I feel like I've been touched by so many people. It's interesting. Like I was having this conversation a couple of days ago where there's such a support system online, with all of this network of people that we're setting up, and it traditionally in the hometowns where I've lived, I don't have a ton of people in my hometown that are resonating at the same volume or frequency as I was or am at the time, and
Sure.
uh, a resonant energy has emerged in these little online communities where it makes it easier to have a support system and share and network and help each other in the ways that we can. And I think it's really important because I think all of us are in the places where we are for the reasons of spreading our frequency and message that's coming to us through our channels and spirit guides and angels and all of the interactions that we have. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think it's real important to have that community. So I try to connect as many people as I can that I think are on the same resonant frequency.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great, my friend. Believe me, I'm very grateful to you, and I'm sure everyone else there is as well. Let me just say that if people go to your website, they can also sign up for your newsletter and get notified when your new CD drops, things like this.
Yeah, and I typically mail out about 2 to 3 emails each month. It depends on what's going on for the month, but those
Okay.
emails will have information about sound healing. They'll have links to articles and books, sometimes movies for people to check out, and then also it has the information about the albums. And sometimes we even release things early, like people get to hear things before it comes out to the public and stuff. So
Right, right.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, did you want to play something that you're from next month's album that you're working on currently?
yeah, yeah.
Am I
So
jumping the gun there? Do you have a different order?
no, 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 it's fine. We'll play that. A lot of my
I'd love to hear it. Ian, see, I'd love to hear that. So
yeah.
yeah.
A lot of my affiliates are using this music each month in different ways. So we have people in Australia all the way to California, who are using this music in different ways. Some people are using it for yoga. Some people are creating, their own playlists and making just strictly meditation, class or meditation workshops using the music. And some people are using it for dance and ecstatic dance and movement yoga. So it's really interesting. Like, just as the network that we've built with the online community, the affiliates are people who basically, get the license from me to host these events using the music, and then they also use it with their personal clients or in videos. They can utilize it in different ways. But I've been getting a lot of feedback where people, it was a challenging thing when I started making frequency minded music, not just for meditation, but the movement. I had a lot of people in the beginning saying, "Well, this isn't really meditation music," and I would smile and I would say, "You're right, it's not." And and I was telling them, I want you to be able to utilize this music not just for meditation. I have things for meditation, but I want you to use it while you're walking your dog and working out at the gym and cleaning your house. I want you to have frequency with you, for any point of your day.
Yeah.
And so in doing that, a lot of over this last, especially 6 months to a year, a lot of the affiliates are like, we want more movement music, more movement music, can you deliver more? So this month this is for October, this track that I'm
Okay.
working on. I'm in the
Yeah.
final mixing stages of it, but I'll share it with you, today.
Okay.
Is definitely a movement piece. A lot of people said that it kind of reminds them of like Thievery Corporation, things like that, electronic, kind of music. But it's weird because it's a real drum set. It's got a real drum set on it, and
Uh-huh.
it's interesting. So I'll share that with you now. Okay.
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 Good. I'll learn something every day. I know Kraftwerk and Public Enemy.
So you get you kind of get the idea of that.
Rockin',
Yeah.
rockin', baby. Love it.
Yeah. So yeah, the next couple
Too
months.
hip.
I'm trying to incorporate different instruments. Like this month, we had the didgeridoo for September, and we had a lot of hand drums and things like that. And next month, there's a lot of piano for the October album, and some kind of uplifting tracks like this. And I'm kind of guided, with spirit as to what instrument. Sometimes there's mandolin or ukulele, and sometimes there's singing bowls and tuning forks, and it's just different each month. So
Yeah, man, you got the whole workshop there, my friend. No,
Yeah. But yeah, so there's also
wonderful.
there's also another, this is all these albums we're listening to here are the Sonic Meditations, the monthly albums. But
Okay.
the Wellness series, there's an album, it's probably one of the best selling albums I have. It's called A Shamanic Journey for the Modern World.
Yeah.
And, and it's incorporating a lot of like Native American flutes and hand drums and a lot of shamanic drumming and kind of even like breath work and different things, chanting and love language, light language, that comes through with some of those
Yeah.
tracks. I can showcase one of those if you want,
Yes, please.
yeah,
Sure.
do you want to do that now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. Um, yeah, I mean, I love music, of course, as you do, and I've listened to albums my whole life, and there's like you say, there's just such a revolution happening in terms of vibration, intention. I like what you're saying about lyrics, and the importance of conscious lyrics in the last interview with Fleur.
Yeah,
uh, and yeah, I mean, we really can begin to you're demonstrating beautifully, uh, and healers and channels and writers can really raise the bar here as you're doing, and begin to really help us all open our hearts and really shift the consciousness. So yeah, just so grateful.
yeah. I it's interesting because I'm as an artist, you want to reflect, on people's intentions with songs and things. And there's lots of times, like singer songwriters are telling stories from a different person's perspective. They're just telling a
Sure.
story, not necessarily their
Right.
perspective or viewpoint. And so there's an art and, storytelling and sharing stories. And I think that it's easy kind of in the woo woo community to get totally caught up on everything being positive. And I think life isn't always positive, and at all moments,
Right.
ultimately you can reflect back and say, well, everything happens for your highest good, right? But
Sure, but we have challenge.
at the same time, in that moment of being human, recognizing the sorrow or the heaviness of a situation isn't
Right.
necessarily the worst thing to do. So
Yeah.
it's funny. Like I found myself when I first was on my spiritual movement, like, is it still okay to listen to Led Zeppelin? Is it still okay to, and I had to get real with myself and just say that, everything doesn't have to be woo woo and everything doesn't
Sure.
have to be spiritually positive all of the time from every single outlook, but seeing the God, the God particle and everything that's delivered to your doorstep in music and movies and conversations, even the uncomfortable things, even the heaviness and the different things, is to see the lesson, like Wayne Dyer would say, to see the lesson in those
Yeah. Yeah.
events that pop up. So, yeah, it's definitely doing this movement for the last 3 years of creating an album every month has been an exercise in letting go and impermanence and like
Yes.
just
Yes.
just
Yes. Well,
yeah, moving forward into trying to see the positive in everything, but also reflecting on life as a human. You know,
sure.
yeah,
Sure. I mean, there's my favorite quote is from Walt Whitman, who says, "I am vast and contain multitudes." You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that about sums it up.
yeah,
And yeah, music is for all of us is also like you're saying, Ian, is cathartic. Where sometimes you need to crank up the Led Zeppelin or whatever it might be, U2 or Beatles, or Sting or Gabriel. For me, any of those, and just really like get in touch with your soul again and give voice to the things that you care about, and plug in to that energy that you want to really be carrying more consciously in your life. So yeah, I think there's a wrong way to do it at all.
yeah. So that right there is so important. What you just said, like how you plug into it and it gives you the energy to get something done. You know, I
Yeah.
really I really believe, I say it all the time, frequency is fuel. I really believe that if you take a movie, you know, like a really epic part of a movie, and you just turn the volume all the way down and you took away the music, that is going to be such a silent film, and there's no energy, there's no, you
Yeah,
know, power and epicness to that
yeah,
scene longer.
yeah,
And so what I tell people is like take that snapshot of what we just talked about and apply that to your meditation now. The people who are having a hard time meditating and the people who are having a hard time quieting the mind,
yeah,
if you give it something that helps it to focus, you know, frequency is one of those things, but it's also tempo and mood. You know, sometimes for people, it's just really depend. You know, you'll have to experiment with the frequency and to find what works for you. But definitely giving your mind a new focus ultimately helps you achieve a greater focus and the broader perspective and helping to move into meditation. You know.
right, right. And as we're saying, you know, life is not always meditation, and it's not always seamless,
Right.
and it's light. So you know,
Yeah.
we need strength and the will and the willingness, courage, and the trust, as we're saying, brother. You know, to dance with the dark, to face our fears, to give voice to our grief and sadness, you know, so that we can let it go, so that we can move through it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it's just so exciting. The guides that I've been working with for 30 years, you know, they're saying very much the same thing, that as the vibration of the planet gets higher and higher every day, literally 24 hours, a little click on the scale here, you know, we're being asked to raise ourselves up into more conscious. And often the greatest blockage, you know, this is my experience as channel and healer here, is our fear judgments about our feelings. So music, like we're saying, especially where you started today with chant and tone and intention, you know, gets the left brain just out of the way, and it says, let's just feel and express here. You know,
Yeah.
let's just be in the emotion, and that's transformative every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I love chanting and I love breath work, and I think when you combine that, you know, chanting and breath work with music, it's a real powerhouse, you know, for kind of squashing that voice or that busyness of the mind. You know, it gives it a focus that takes it away from itself, you know, and you know, gives you a clean sheet or clean canvas to work with. So
Right, right,
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to play for us here today before we
Yeah.
finish up?
Yeah, so this last one I'll play is it's the second track of the Shamanic album.
Okay.
This is 852 hertz, which is the third eye frequency from the solfeggio scale, and this is
Okay.
from the Shamanic album.
Brilliant. gorgeous.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so that album has a lot more of that like chanting and light language, love language, you know, where it's just kind of channeled vocals and things like that on there. So
Great, great. Well, brother, thank you so much for showing up here today and sharing your gifts with all of us.
yeah,
I'm truly grateful to you.
yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. It was a lot of fun.
Pleasure. Maybe I can ask that we think about doing a little similar program when your October album drops, and we can share your list with people from the new album. If you like, I'd be thrilled to offer that as well. I'd be happy to do that with you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We could have a listening party.
Exactly. There you go. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Online party. Yeah, it'd be fun.
Brilliant. And we have Kim Ballstead is here, who's one of our favorites as well, and all these great people listening in. So we want to invite you to go to listeningtosmile.com and find the album of your dreams and what you're looking for on your healing journey. And if you want to support Ian and myself together, when you check out and get a 10% discount, you can just type in Lou Martin and you'll be taking care of all of us. So I'm so grateful to you for all of that as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And we'll get people signed up for the newsletter as well here.
Yeah, right on the listeningtosmile.com, you can sign up. There's a little pop-up, and it pops up, and they can just put in their email address, and then they'll get notifications whenever the new albums come out, and we have new information to share on the newsletter.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think we did it. I think everyone's blown away, as am I, my friend. Thank you so much.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have a great day, great night, I guess. Over there.
You too. Much love, Ian. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks again.